Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today I am here to review and talk about the latest 4K release from KINO LORBER, and that is Some Like It Hot, a film from 1959, directed by Billy Wilder and starring Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon. And I'm very excited to get into this, guys, because KINO LORBER has just been killing it with the 4K releases, and I haven't bought one since Misery, so I was excited to watch this one and talk about it with you. But before we get into it, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber to the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button for more great content. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of physical media. I do new 4K and Blu-ray reviews. I do physical media reports every single Monday, Blu-ray hunting videos, just tons of physical media content each and every day, every single week. If you like that kind of stuff, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. Also, be sure to like the video and comment down below if you got any thoughts on the film Some Like It Hot. I want to hear about it. Let's have a discussion about this classic comedy. I want to talk about it with you. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's get into this release by KINO LORBER. Again, very excited to pick this one up. I think the last one that I picked up was Silence of the Lambs. I actually have a review for that one on the channel as well. So the interesting thing with this one is pretty much the interesting thing with KINO LORBER in general right now is they are taking a lot of the previously restored Criterion titles, classic films that Criterion Collection has done, and they are remastering them in 4K. So Some Like It Hot does have a Criterion version. I'm not exactly sure when that was released, but I don't have that in the collection. So this is a first-time watch for me. I don't have that Criterion edition, but I do have this Blu-ray edition that I think I got from Big Lots for like $4 some time ago, but I never watched it, so I had it in the collection. This is the second Billy Wilder film that I have seen. The first one that I saw, I believe I saw this in 2020, and actually have a very early channel review of this film. If you go all the way back to early 2020, you'll see me talk about this movie in a video. I think I reviewed like 3 classic films in one, like this and Citizen Kane and A Thing from Another World, all in one video. But Sunset Boulevard. So I've seen this movie. I really enjoyed this movie. It's got William Holden and Gloria Swanson in it. It's a great movie from what I remember. This one definitely would be awesome if KINO LORBER swept in and grabbed this one and did that one in 4K as well. But getting into this actual movie, guys, I really loved this. I thought this was awesome, to be honest. It's not perfect. I think when you're going into like the third act of the movie, it kind of slows down a little bit and doesn't really focus on the comedy as much as I would have liked. Like the first hour is like boom, 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 joke, joke, joke. I'm like laughing. And it always amazes me going back and watching these older films from like the 40s, the 50s. Like I watched Bringing Up Baby last year, the Criterion version. That was made in like 1938 or 1939, and I was laughing the whole way through. It's like some movies just have that type of comedy that just doesn't age. They just know how to really tap into that everybody's comedic sensibility, and they do it in a way that it's timeless. Like they're telling jokes that like anybody can appreciate from any time period. Like some movies, the jokes expire pretty much like when they're delivered in the movie, and like they don't really carry any weight like a couple years later even. But with these types of movies, like when you do it right, when you just tap into stuff that's just like extremely relatable to everybody else, it's just funny. Like there's tons of great lines, like the last line that's said in the movie, like I was dying, and then they cut the black. It's just a great movie. It's funny. Like I said, it starts off really great. Like the first hour is just like joke, joke, joke. Jack Lemmon in this movie was kind of the standout for me as far as the comedy. Like he is really great in this film. I did like Tony Curtis, and again, Tony Curtis is actually Jamie Lee Curtis's father. So he was with Janet Leigh, I guess, at some point, and that's, you know, they had Jamie Lee Curtis, and then she was in Halloween. So Tony Curtis, and I didn't know that like watching this, but then when I was looking it up to do some research on the review, that's when I found that out. And then Marilyn Monroe. This is the first film that I've ever seen with Marilyn Monroe in it. Classic actress, just figure, personality. Like I've always heard of her, I feel like, since I was like 5 years old. There's that whole like thing where the wind's like blowing her skirt up and stuff, and the whole, you know, alleged affair with JFK and all that stuff. But I had never seen a Marilyn Monroe performance, and boy, does she carries herself like such a star in this movie. It's like no wonder she was famous. Just extremely beautiful for one, but just her performance, she's so charismatic. Like, you just can't take your eyes off of her like this entire movie. And like going into the story of this film, so it's basically Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis's characters. They're members of a band, and it's during the Prohibition era, so they're playing for like these gang leaders and stuff like that in this underground club that's like, you know, selling liquor and all that stuff. And then that gets busted up, and then they witness a murder by the gang leaders. So then they basically have to go into exile, and they take a job as female musicians, because that's the only thing that's available, and they get to go down to Florida, which is far away from where they were. I think they were in Chicago at the beginning of this movie, but and so they have to dress up like girls, and they're in the band with Marilyn Monroe and a bunch of other girls. And then from there, you know, hilarity ensues. And I just, like I said, just the situational comedy of it, you know, they're in this situation, they have to dress up like girls, they're around a bunch of girls who are like undressing on the bus and stuff, and just the way Jack Lemmon acts on there, like he's just so giddy and happy to be there with girls and stuff undressing. Tony Curtis is trying to keep him straight, just like, remember, you're a girl, you're not a guy, quit looking at these girls like you're a guy. So he's constantly like reminding him that it's just really funny stuff. Like I said, like the first hour of this movie, pretty much like the whole like bus train. I think they're on a train because they do the e-brake, but the whole train ride down to Florida, I loved. But and I loved the whole movie. I don't want to act like I didn't like any parts of the movie, but when they do get to Florida, they start to go their separate ways. There's a romance involved. Tony Curtis, you know, they both like Marilyn Monroe, obviously. Like, how could you not? So they both have the hots for Marilyn Monroe. They're both trying to get with her, but Tony Curtis is definitely having more success in that department because he's, you know, dressing up like a guy, and he's like wooing her, and he has to go back and forth between the guy and the girl makeup in the movie. And Jack Lemmon's like trying to expose him throughout the movie, but he's, you know, failing at every attempt. The one scene I thought was really funny was when he was on the beach, and then he runs up to the room because he thinks he's going to get there before Tony Curtis comes back up. But then they get up there and he's in the bathtub in the bedroom. So, but yeah, the whole movie's funny. Like I said, it's just a classic movie. I'm so glad I finally got a chance to watch this movie. Everybody in this movie is fantastic, just across the board. I'm trying to think of anything else I want to say about it, but yeah, just directed perfectly. I really want to check out more of Billy Wilder's filmography. You know, I've seen Sunset Boulevard. He's got a 4K of Double Indemnity coming out from Criterion Collection, so there's a win for Criterion. They got a new 4K from Billy Wilder coming out. The Apartment's getting ready to come out in 4K. From KINO LORBER. So this is like the year of Billy Wilder on 4K right now, because we got 3 announcements for 4Ks for Billy Wilder. Again, I would love, like, this is a classic movie. Like, everybody loves this movie, so I would not be surprised to see KINO or Criterion swoop this one up and put it out. I don't think this has any kind of special edition, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, he's got tons of other films that I would love to get into as well. I think Warner Archive released a few of his films. So yeah, great movie. As for the movie, guys, I'd honestly give this a 4.5 out of 5. If it wasn't for the fact that it kind of slowed down with the comedy a little bit, it kind of halted the comedy a little bit like midway. Like if it would have just kept going with the pace that it was the first hour of the entire movie, because I think it picks back up towards the end. It would have probably been a perfect movie for me, like a perfect classic comedy, a 5 out of 5. But I will give this a 4.5 out of 5. It's near perfect. All the performances are so good in this movie, and I highly recommend it. Getting into the transfer, guys, so I talked about Criterion and how they put this movie out. They did a 4K restoration of the film. They just didn't complete the transfer. It was still on the Blu-ray disc, not on a 4K disc. What KINO LORBER did was take that previously completed 4K restoration, and they added Dolby Vision and HDR into this release. And can I just say right now, it is a stunning presentation by KINO LORBER. I thought this looked absolutely fantastic, just an immaculate transfer on this release. And also, I know a lot of people are reluctant when it comes to black and white films, because this is a black and white film, it's not in color at all, to pick up 4Ks of those, because they're like, it's black and white, like how good could it be? Because a lot of people, when they think of HDR, they're thinking of colors that really pop. They just don't think that a classic you know, black and white film can really look that much better in 4K. But as we found out with like films like Psycho, with films like Dracula, which I reviewed last year, like you can really do a lot to improve the image quality on a black and white film. Like this movie just looks so good. And what really stands out to me is because because it is black and white, so you have a lot of those blacks in there. So if you're watching this on Blu-ray, on a Blu-ray of a black and white film, like the white is the most dominant of the two, but in a black and white 4K transfer, like you can really notice those black levels pop. And what that does, increasing that contrast level, is it really gives depth to the movie when you're watching it. And it just looks so crisp and so clear, and it really showcases some of those backgrounds and stuff, like buildings and stuff, especially like in the nighttime sequences. But the sequences in the club, like you can just really like see the background so well, and just the facial detail looks so good, just the way they all look with the contrast levels turned up. It just, the black levels look so fantastic with these HDR transfers on this black and white film. So I would say if you're on the fence about picking up black and white 4Ks, then just throw that out, because this looks so much better. Black and white films that I've seen compared to Blu-ray to 4K look so much better on the 4K than they do on Blu-ray. So I would highly recommend this for the transfer alone. I thought it looked fantastic. Now, as for the audio guides, you get the original mono, and you also get the surround 5.1. So there is no Dolby Atmos for this. I know some people have some reservations about picking up these KINO releases, because I think that they have done Atmos before, but they don't do them on a lot of their releases, and a lot of people have been complaining about that. But again, I don't have that full sound setup, so I can't really complain there. I'm just listening to it on a regular soundbar. Everything sounded fantastic to me. You know, there's a lot of musical, not numbers in this movie, but again, it deals with music. They are in a band. So I just thought everything sounded great. The music of this movie sounded great. Just all the dialogue, everything sounded fantastic to me with this audio presentation. So let's get into the special features, guys. And a lot of these special features are from the Criterion release. You do get an audio commentary by film historian Joseph McBride, author of Billy Wilder Dancing on Edge. You get an audio commentary by Paul Diamond, son of I.A.L. Diamond, who is the writer of this film, who also wrote The Apartment, along with Billy Wilder as well. They were a collaborative team. And screenwriters Lowell Gaines and Babalu Mandel. You also get interviews with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. You get the making of Some Like It Hot. You get the legacy of Some Like It Hot. You get a nostalgic look back documentary, Memories from Sweet Sue's featurette, Virtual Hall of Memories featurette. Billy Wilder and Volker Sandorf discuss Some Like It Hot, tribute to I.A.L. Diamond, and a theatrical trailer. So tons of special features are included in this release. But one thing I will say is that the special features are not on the 4K disc. There are no special features on the 4K disc itself. They are only on this additional Blu-ray. So you have the 4K disc right here, which has the film on it. But on the Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure the movie is not on the Blu-ray. So it is just the special features. You do not get the movie on the Blu-ray disc for this one. I'm almost 100% positive, because it does say just special features below it. But getting into the packaging, guys, it is awesome artwork. I think this artwork's awesome. I do kind of, I don't know, when comparing the two, like the old, the Blu-ray release, I do kind of like the Blu-ray release just a tad bit better. It's a little bit more simple. This one definitely has more stuff going on in the background with the gangsters with the guns and all that stuff. But I don't know. They're both really cool. I like the minimal approach here, but the artwork, you know, this is much more artistic, and it's actually drawn, and this is just actual images of the actors. But I think the artwork's fantastic. KINO LORBER did a great job. It's not reversible cover art or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they've done reversible cover art before, and this does come with a nice slip cover to it. Now, one thing that with the slip covers with KINO LORBER, they do wrap them in plastic, and sometimes when they are transporting those, it does cause like some creases up in the corners for the slip cover. So I don't like that always. I appreciate them trying to put some extra packaging on the 4K slip covers, but it almost always leads to like creasing up here in the corners. So I don't know. I almost wish they wouldn't do it, just to kind of take a chance, and maybe you'll get a slipcover that doesn't have those creases in it. But there you go, guys. That is my review of Some Like It Hot. So as a release, guys, I got to go pretty high on this, because I think it's a fantastic release by KINO LORBER. Love the movie, love the transfer, great special features. Again, a lot of those special features were on the Criterion release. And like I said, it is using that previous 4K transfer from Criterion, but it's adding the HDR and the Dolby Vision, which looks fantastic. So I would have to imagine imagine that if you own the Criterion, this is probably going to be worth an upgrade. So this is $27.99, but as a score, guys, I got to give it a 4.5 out of 5. Thought it was a stellar release by KINO LORBER, and they're definitely on a roll. I can't wait for The Apartment and some of the other movies that KINO LORBER has to offer. But that is my review of Some Like It Hot from KINO LORBER. Again, if you picked this up, have you seen this movie, let me know in the comment section below. Let's talk about it. Also, be sure to like this video, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.